Hi, Gary Hewitt here on behalf of TechMag Social, and I'm here with my good friend Ramila. Now, I've known you for how long now?
Oh, I would say 18 years.
18 years?
Yes.
Yes. And you taught me many things, and I am very, very grateful that I met you. Because I was at a point in my life when I literally thought I was going to spend the rest of my life either in a wheelchair or in a hospital bed, because I was so exhausted and so drained, and I tried everything in the medical world, and you were the first person to start me on the path to health. So you challenged a lot of my beliefs.
Yes.
You did some crazy things with my body, and I was willing, I was open, I wanted to get better, and something drove me to you, and when I followed your advice, I started to get better. I saw results.
Right.
So I am a living testimonial that you know what you're doing.
Right. And I'm also very results oriented.
Yes.
So for me, I want to see results within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we
And you did with me.
Right. So when patients come in, I want to make sure that within a week or two, they're seeing some changes. It's not like, oh, when do I see it? Maybe a couple of times, months down the road or weeks.
Yes.
No. For me,
Okay.
maximum 2 weeks.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit
Okay.
and let's explain what it is that you do. Right? So what is it you do?
Okay, so I'm a doctor of natural medicine, and what I do, there's multiple things that I do. The main focus is a consultation. In the consultation, of course, I take an extensive history,
Yes.
and then I look at the diet, because I believe that our diet plays a key role in everything we do.
Yes.
What we put in is the energy that's carried through the body.
Yep.
And then I have a technique that I use whereby I test all the organs, I test for organisms in the body, vitamin mineral deficiency, hormonal imbalance. Basically, you get a full physical when you come and see me.
Okay, so it's not just the history, here's what I remember, and here's everything's happened to me. You have techniques that you can actually draw that information out of somebody.
Right, to get to the root cause of the problem.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what, diagnosis they come to
Or
me with,
what symptoms.
fancy name they have,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter, or what symptoms,
Yes.
because I want to know what is causing those symptoms, what's the root cause of it. And so there's no guessing in the work I do.
Okay.
I get to the root cause of the problem, and then again, and then I of course change diet, and I make recommendations for vitamins and herbs.
Yes.
That's what my main focus is.
Yes.
And even with that, with the recommendations that I make, I would take that and I would test it all against the person.
Okay.
I would make sure that it is well suited for the individual. Because
You're using a technique, if I can
Yes.
stop you here, you're
Right.
using a technique known as kinesiology.
That's correct. And in layman's term, muscle response testing.
Muscle response testing. Okay, now there are some people that think that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. I think the technique that you practice is bang on,
Right.
right?
Yes, I have mastered it, and I've been doing this for 20 years. And, I know people that have done it and have come to see me and go, my goodness, I really get a yes and a no with you.
Yes,
Because that's important.
yes,
You have to be precise. You need to get a yes or a no, nothing iffy.
okay,
And so with that technique, I tailor-make a program for the individual. So for instance, if we take a B vitamin,
yes.
there's so many different B vitamins. So what's good for you may not be good for me. So with this testing, I know exactly which one's going to suit your body.
Yes.
And hence you get the results as quick as we do.
And you actually test not just a B vitamin, but you'll test the B vitamin in conjunction with this a fiber thing and
That's right.
so on. Like you put the whole mix together and make sure that something doesn't knock that off.
Exactly.
Yes.
Then when I have all of that, then I make sure that your body's actually, all of this is going to work synergistically in your body,
Yes.
and that one of it's not going to throw it out, because maybe one may be good, but when you put it
But it's
together,
something- it doesn't work.
may not. So,
And your
yes.
body is capable of telling you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's, I'm using your body. So basically your body is giving me all the messages. It's nothing that I'm doing that's extraordinary. I just know what I do and know how to do it. And your body's really giving me all the information.
Okay. So why do you do this, Ramila?
The reason I do this, Gary, is prior to coming to Canada 22 years ago, I was very ill. And I had health issues for 15 years. And back in South Africa, I went from one doctor to another, and I just nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And they went, women get this problem. And so when we came to Canada, obviously, our qualifications are not recognized. I'm actually a chemist. I was a chemist back in South Africa.
Okay, so you've got a scientific background.
That's right. So I'm very scientific, I'm still that, yes. And so when we came and, I had to either go back and study chemistry, redo that at university, or do something else. And at that point, people used to talk about a little voice that talks to you.
Yes.
And I never believed that,
Okay.
And yes, and that night I remember sitting at the table and saying to my husband, what am I going to do? And there was this little voice that said, you need to work with people and you need to help people.
Okay.
And I went, wow, and I said this to him, he says, you know what, we know what reflexology is, why don't you go and check that out? And the reason we knew about reflexology was one of the problems I had as well was severe lower back problems.
Okay.
And so back in South Africa, we bought a book, and it was a reflexology book, and my husband worked on my feet. And within a very short time, I totally got rid of my lower back problem. So we knew that worked.
Yes.
So he says, maybe...
There's nothing like experiencing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he says, maybe that's what you're meant to do. And so Monday morning, I'm calling around, we're brand new in the country, 3 months, just 3 months into it, I'm calling around looking for a school, and finally I find a school that says, we're starting our classes tonight. Talk about intervention, right?
Yes.
And meant to be. So they said, well, we have a few slots open, come in. And I went, Mix was job hunting, he came back, I told him the story, and I went and I loved it. And then I did nutrition and anatomy, and I was just so hooked. And by the time I took my nutrition and started learning more about what was happening, I realized what my health problem was.
Okay.
And then when I put myself on this strict program, within 6 weeks, Gary, my symptoms were gone.
Gone, not
Gone.
just better, gone.
Gone. I've not had that again. Like
Wow.
one, I'll mention one of my symptoms, I had many. One is called dermographism.
Okay, never
That
heard
is,
of it.
if you scratch your skin, it would welt.
Wow.
I
okay.
could
So
literally-
you were in pretty bad shape.
Very bad. Joint pains, you name it. And
Wow.
I could literally scratch Ramila on my back and you would see it, the imprint of Ramila. That's how bad it
Wow.
was. And,
Wow.
and the doctors couldn't find out. They had a name for it, but they didn't know what
Yeah.
the cause was. So within 6 weeks, and that's when I knew that I was doing the right thing. That little voice wanted me to do this. And
Okay.
I've been
And we're
so
so grateful
blessed.
that you did. Yes.
And I'm so blessed that not only have I helped myself,
Yep.
but thousands of people over these past 20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I really hope the video picks up is your eyes. You are stunningly beautiful, but I mean that in the physical sense.
Thank you.
But your health radiates.
Yes,
Anybody that meets you knows that you're healthy.
yes.
That just emanates from you, right? And so when you want to talk to somebody about being healthy, you want to talk to a healthy person.
Right. Exactly. You know, and I walk my talk.
Yes.
I definitely do that.
Yes.
And I think it's important. I don't ever want to go back to where I was.
Mhm.
And, I just love the whole industry.
Yes.
And so,
And
so
you've been doing this now for
20 years.
20 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so we, as I mentioned, we do multiple things. So that's the consultation part.
Uh-huh.
Now, many people also have sensitivities or intolerances to
Yep.
food as well as environment.
Yes.
And that was also a part of my problem as well. And so we also do that. So we test for about 700 foods,
Okay.
650 environmental allergens,
Mhm.
and we can physically remove it. I also
So not
have-
only can you find out somebody's allergic or sensitive to something,
Right,
you can actually do something about that as well.
absolutely.
Okay.
And at the end of it, a person has a life. I'm not
Yes.
just giving you, your sheets and saying, sorry, these are your sensitivities.
Yeah.
We can physically remove it. I also have a doctorate in acupuncture, so that's
Okay.
part of my treatment protocol as well.
Yes, you've learned many things.
I'm addicted.
You love learning.
Yes, and I
Yes.
have not stopped learning.
Yes,
It's
and I don't think you're ever going to
No,
stop.
no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the clinic that you have.
Okay, the clinic we have, it's in Bell's Corners.
Yes.
It's called Ramila's Healing Arts Clinic.
Mhm.
And I kept the name Ramila always because initially people knew Ramila.
Yes.
So I just kept that and it just,
Yeah, You say that name anywhere and somebody says, yeah, I know her.
That's
Yes.
right, yes.
You got a
So,
tremendous reputation.
yes, and so my husband, Megs,
Mhm.
he's also a practitioner.
Yes.
He does reflexology, he
Mhm.
does shiatsu.
Yes.
He's also a holistic allergist, so he does that as
Okay.
well. So both of us do that. We have our receptionist, Maria.
Mhm.
And then something else that we do in our clinic as well is emotional release.
Yes, okay. So explain a
That-
little bit about that.
That, Gary, is phenomenal.
Yes.
Because what that does is, what I do with emotional release is I do something called timeline.
Mhm.
So when we have an emotion, say an emotion of fear or anger,
Yes.
and at some point in our life, the charge of that emotion
Mhm.
manifested in our subconscious.
Yes.
And that could have started in utero.
Yep. Yeah.
If your
Before.
mother experienced it and you,
Mhm.
then you already kind of come into this world with the charge.
Yes.
And every time something happens, the subconscious go, oh, looks like, feels like, yes it is, and it adds to that.
Yes.
And you know that as we get older, intellectually we go, wow, that's so stupid, why did I react to that, right?
Yep.
And yet we can't stop it, we still react to it.
Yep.
And yet we know we shouldn't. That's because of the charge.
Okay.
So I have a technique whereby I physically remove it from the subconscious.
So it's
By-
gone. It's gone. So
It's
you
gone.
you can go back in time, as
Right.
it were, and get right to the first time
The
that
beginning
happened,
of that, yes.
and you can actually release it as if it
Release
never
it,
happened.
yes.
Okay.
And then I continue using timeline to
Yes. Mm-hmm.
present day age, and then release it. So when you think about the incident, you'll remember it without the charge.
Yes.
Because so many times we remember stuff, right?
Yes.
And the charge is there, and we still get it, right? And I can release
Yep.
that. And there's no verbal dialogue because I don't need to know about people's business.
Okay. So people don't have to figure this out on their own.
No.
You can use the techniques that you have,
Right,
and you can figure out these things and clear them.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'll know exactly what age it is.
Yeah.
And then I would tell the individual, and mostly they know what
Yes.
happened. And as I said, I don't have to know. All they do, it's like them playing a video of that whole scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the delete button.
Yes.
That's really what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So you could, just to clarify here, you could get physically healthy
Yes,
and then still have something set you off, like road rage or
Right.
whatever, right? But then, so this is another layer where you're improving another part of the quality of somebody's life.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And we know
okay.
emotions play a big part in health.
Yes.
So big. I mean, so many cancers are known to be caused by emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many different health problems.
Yes.
In Chinese medicine, they talk about the different emotions. So when they
Mhm.
talk about anger manifests in the liver.
Yep.
So, it just shows you it's not only the foods we're putting into our body, but the emotion as well.
Yes.
And so,
So
it
if your
is
liver's
so-
holding that, it
Exactly.
may not be able to do all the liver functions
Right,
efficiently because it's being angry.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's and you'll wake up at a specific time
Time.
at night as well, and I'll know exactly what's happening. So it's so interesting. I see
all
myself as a
connected.
detective.
Okay.
Because when someone comes in and they're telling me all this information,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it and listening very intently, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm a very good listener.
Absolutely.
And just getting it and putting all these pieces and going, okay, what is it that they need today? Is it
Yep.
emotional first, or is it the consultation, or is it the allergies? What is it? And that's how
Yes.
we would start with the first.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ramila, thank you so, so much for coming in and talking to us today. I
Thank
know
you,
there's
Gary.
a lot of people out there that are looking for you, and hopefully we'll help them find you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.